So quite new to all this stuff, but I thought I would share with you how I make a homemade lasagna. So my name's Anita and I'm in my second year of my postgrad in functional nutrition. I'm completely changing my career around to look at how nutrition can affect our health. I'm 53, I'm postmenopausal, and I'm also quite an active woman. So cooking quickly but healthily is really important in my household. I have 4 grown-up children who still live at home, and we juggle our own lifestyles and work and sporting activities around what mostly I cook in the kitchen. So today I have recorded how I made my homemade lasagna, and I thought I'd share it with you. Do let me know if you try out the recipe, and of course if you have any questions, do drop them in the comments. And if you want to follow this journey as I become a fully trained functional nutritionist and the things I share about being a woman in her 50s and an active one at that, then do hit that subscribe button. Okay, enjoy. Hi, my name's Anita and I'm a second year postgrad in functional nutrition, and I thought I would share with you how I made this homemade lasagna today. So what you need for this particular lasagna is you need some mince. So I'm using the 5% mince that I bought the other day. I'm going to use 2 packs because I think I'm cooking for 5 people tonight. I'm going to use this Lloyd Grossman's original bolognese sauce for my base. I know you can make it yourself, but you know, sometimes we are so busy that you just need to choose the best that you can afford in regards to sauces. So I'm going to put that in. I'm also going to use this mild and smooth bechamel sauce for the white sauce. Just turn that down. I'm going to add some onions. I'm going to add some mushrooms. I'm going to use these fresh lasagna sheets from Marks and Spencer's. I'm going to grate some cheese on top of it, and I'm going to add some spinach to it to get that veg and those nutrients into the meat. So first things first is to cut the onions up into small chunks. I'm also going to add in some garlic just to give it a little bit more flavour. So I've got some garlic cloves there, so I'm just going to add a couple of those in as well. Meanwhile, turn your oven on. So I usually put my oven on about 170 degrees centigrade for your lasagna, and it's going to take, because they're fresh lasagna sheets, once you've browned the mince off, it's going to take about half an hour to cook this so that you can eat it. And I'm getting this ready before I go out, because I'm going back out for some more training later, so that the kids and hubby have got something to eat when they get back from work. Just get the onions into the pan. What I like to do with the mince is I like to separate it out. So put the mince onto the board, break up the mince so that it's a little bit looser for when you put it into the pan. Also going to chop up the mushrooms, so just chop those randomly up into chunks. They don't have to be perfect. This is just making it so that everyone can eat healthily for dinner tonight whilst I'm out. And this is a great dish as well to save for tomorrow. So if you have any left over, just pop it into a glass container and pop it into the fridge. And if you want to freeze it, you can freeze it as well. Just pop it into the freezer tonight once it's cooled down, and then you can just reheat it when you want it later. So this one's a great meal prep idea as well. So just brown those onions off and then add some of your mince in. Give that a little whiz round, and then just prepare the other packet and get that into the pan as well. Pop the second lot of mince in. Of course, you can just use 1 packet. I'm just feeding a lots of adult people and they like a lot of protein, and so do I. So we're just going to put that in there like that. And if you want to, just pop in the mushrooms as well, and that will all just brown down before we add the sauce. Okay, so the mince is browning off nicely, so now we're going to add the tomato sauce. So I quite like the Lloyd Grossman's one because it's got tomatoes, tomato puree, water, red wine, carrots, onions, celery, garlic puree, celery puree, rapeseed oil, sea salt, concentrated lemon juice, extra virgin olive oil, oregano, basil, ground black pepper, thyme, ground nutmeg and ground bay leaf. So nothing really artificial going on in there. So we're just going to open that up and pop that onto your mince, and that's going to just cook away for about 10 minutes until the mince is browned off. So give that a good old stir in, make sure that it's all in there, and just set the timer of 10 minutes and just let that simmer away. Meanwhile, we can grate some of the cheese, so that's what we're going to put on top of the lasagna when we actually start layering it up. Grate as much of the cheese as you want. I've gone for mature British cheddar. You can choose whichever cheese that you like to go for, but I find that if you eat the full fat one, then it's going to be more filling than the low fat version. But just whichever one you prefer, just grate some of that up ready for you to put on top of the top layer of the lasagna. Okay, so the final element to add to the mince is your spinach. So you can go as heavy or as light as you want with your spinach, but just put it on top, and that's going to wilt into the mince, ready for when we transfer it into the lasagna dishes. So I'm just going to probably put that on like that, and just squish it into the mince and just let that wilt down. Okay, so the layering process is really simple. We have our lasagna sheets. As you can see, they're all ready to go on. So we're going to put a layer on the bottom of the pan of the mince first. Okay, so you just put a scoop on to the bottom. A couple of those for the base layer is quite good. And then what you do is you just put your lasagna sheets on top and just layer it over so that you cover up the mince. And again, and then what you do is you just pour the sauce over the top of the lasagna sheets and spread that out. So a little bit on each one. And you just keep repeating that process until all of the mince has been used up and all of the lasagna sheets have been used up. Spread out the mince. And one thing I find useful is to alternate the way the lasagna sheets are laid out. So if you're going to go one way first, then go the next way the next time, so that you make sure that you seal your lasagna properly. So you can break them up in half if you want to, and just carry on doing this until you have sealed your lasagna and it's all done nicely. So once you've done your final layer, then just add the rest of the sauce to the top of each one. Try and use it all up. Spread that around, trying to get over to the corners so that the pasta sheets go down. And then sprinkle your cheese over the top of the lasagna, because that's going to brown off nicely in the oven. And if you want to, you can add a little bit more spinach to the top to just give it a little bit of decoration. And we're going to put these into the oven for 30 minutes. And there you can see, we'll just pop them in and we'll pop it on for 30 minutes and that'll be all done. Okay, so the lasagna is done. As you can see, it looks absolutely awesome. You can see the layers and the mince all nicely cooked underneath there. And I've got one for tonight. I have my baby one as a spare in case I have more people for dinner. And if not, I will be cooling this down and popping it in the fridge for tomorrow's lunch, or maybe I'll check and see if we might need to put it in the freezer and we can eat it another day. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and of course let me know if you try this recipe, because I'd love to know whether you eat this as well.